Hey guys, Cainebourne back with the Elder Scrolls Online. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about Undaunted Pledges. This will be a much shorter video than my average because this is a simple concept, but it is something that I only mentioned briefly in my armor type video and might be glossed over or missed, and then you might not know anything about this system. So I just want to tell you very quickly because it's another thing that sort of you want to work on every day if you want to make the most of it. And if a month or two goes by that you're playing, you ignore the system completely, well, then all of a sudden you find out that you want something from this and it takes that much longer. So I want to bring it to your attention as is part of my new or beginning player's guide. So what exactly are Undaunted Pledges? Undaunted Pledges are repeatable group dungeon quests that are unlocked at level 45, and they are accessible through the Undaunted Enclave, which is right behind me. You can see these three NPCs here, this gentleman, that one, and that one. And then there are the reward chests back there. If you look on the map, it is represented by this icon. They're going to be located in your capital city, so if you are basically AD, it's going to be Grotwood. If you're Daggerfall like me, it's going to be Wayrest. And if you're EP, it's going to be in Mournhold. So depending on your alliance, go to your alliance capital and look for that icon and come on over here. Again, you do have to be level 45 in order to be able to do these, but also they are daily quests, as is signified by the marker above their head that is kind of a bluish green. And when I say daily, it's not like your daily dungeon that resets right from when you've done it, so around 20 hours or so, or the horse trainer. It is actually a hard set time and resets at the same time for everybody each day. And the reasoning behind that, I would imagine, is because it is a group activity. They want to make sure that everybody is ready to do it at the same time each day, because it's more difficult to kind of get a group together for that, because if you're just queuing up for random dungeons, you're not necessarily going to be able to get those pledges done. So they're just trying to make that a little bit easier on you. As far as these pledges, why would you want to do them? What is the purpose of them, right? Like, what kind of reward is there? Well, pledges have changed a little bit over time. So if you're a player from beta and haven't been back since the 1 Tamriel update, you might remember there used to be 2 daily quests. You could do them on normal or vet, and you got like a bronze or a silver or a gold key. They're not like that anymore at all, so you can forget that information completely. Now there are 3 daily quests. And these quests are going to be offered by the 3 NPCs that I showed you before, but I do want to make the distinction that Urgalar Chiefbane is going to give you pledges for DLC quests, which is from the Gold Edition. So if you've purchased either Gold or you own Dark Brotherhood, Imperial City, Orsinium, that sort of stuff, that is all going to be coming from Urgalarg. The base game, 1 Tamriel, is going to be covered by Maj, and also Glirian the Redbeard over here. So if you are completely new to the game, I suggest kind of starting with those 2 anyway, because those dungeons are much easier to complete, particularly if you're trying to do those dungeons on veteran mode. The DLC stuff is very difficult, and I wouldn't even bother with that until you're champion level 150, 160 with matching gear. So, you might not even be something you're able to complete. But the reason that's important to know and talk about whether or not you're doing it on veteran mode is, aside from the normal rewards you get for just doing normal dungeons on normal or veteran, in this instance, your rewards from the Undaunted will also change. And I want to kind of go through that. If you're just to go through these Undaunted Pledges and do them on normal from each one of these people, then your reward is going to be 1 Undaunted Key. If you are to do them on veteran mode and increase the difficulty, then you're going to get the monster mask that is a reward from the dungeon boss. You can't get that drop unless you're doing it on veteran mode. And finally, if you're up to an additional challenge, you can put the boss on hard mode by clicking on a scroll that is usually found right near the boss. Of course, the group is going to have to be on board with that, and if you're already doing a very difficult dungeon, particularly a DLC one, and doing it on veteran, and then increasing the difficulty of the boss, that might not even be something that you can complete. But if you survive that, you're not only going to get the Undaunted Key and the Monster Mask from the boss, but you're also going to get an additional Undaunted Key, which is pretty cool. So with all that being said, you have the ability to get up to 6 Undaunted Keys per day if you do the veteran mode and the difficult challenge. If you just do it on normal, then you're just going to get basically 3 keys per day, which is probably going to happen more commonly. So what exactly do you do with these keys, and what is this monster mask I was just referring to? Well, first, to understand this, you have to understand armor set bonuses. I do have an entire video dedicated to armor sets and bonuses that you should watch. I'll link in the description if that is completely lost on you. But I will just, kind of explain that quickly here. When you are taking a look at your armor, there are set bonuses. For example, I am wearing the Bone Pirates Tatters set because ever since this most recent Morrowind patch, there was some recovery issues with stamina because they made changes to the champion point system and the bonuses I was receiving. So when wearing a 5-piece Bone Tatters set, with 2 items, I get 922 max stamina. With 3, I get 123. With 4, I get 922. And finally, with 5, whenever I have a drink buff active, which I'm currently drinking a Dubious Cainebourne Throne, which is helpful to my stamina regeneration as well. But whenever I am drinking or have a drink buff active, my maximum stamina is increased and my recovery is increased significantly. So there's some synergy with that build, and it works sort of well. Well, that's the whole point of sets, is to get some kind of bonus from wearing multiple pieces that are part of the same set. Now, when you start mixing in other sets, you can still get minor bonuses from those. For example, I have a 2-piece Hunting's Raid set going. This is not an ideal set. I had some pieces break when I was trying to get fancy and upgrade them. But one creative way to make a more interesting build, which is the crux of this entire thing I just explained, this whole pledge system, is to get a 2-piece monster set to supplement your 5-piece set. So now that you've got your chest, your belt, your boots, your pants, and your gloves potentially matching, why not get a shoulder and a hat that offer an additional 2-piece bonus? One common piece that Nightblades would use is this Kragaz, I don't know, I'm going to screw that up, Krag's armor basically, and it adds for 1 piece you get extra physical penetration, and for 2 you get an additional damage dealing effect. But there are so many different combinations and things that you could go after, and I'm not going to cover all of that here. But the point is, you get a monster mask from defeating the boss on veteran mode. In order to get the corresponding shoulders, then you're going to have to go to these chests here and kind of get lucky per se. Now, I will be linking in the description a guide which tells you what dungeon drops what mask and which one of these chests you're going to want to open to have a chance at getting the particular shoulder piece that goes with the mask. But it's not going to give you a 100% ratio. It's still going to be a little bit of luck involved. But I will link that in the description if you want to know what dungeons drop what monster masks and what shoulders have a chance to come out of these 3 chests. But then you basically take that Undaunted key and you just open up the corresponding chest, and that's your reward. So that's why people are doing pledges. They're wanting to get the perfect monster set with the shoulders and the masks that they like. Whether or not that's worth your time or effort, I'll leave that up to you. I will say there's certainly some monster sets that have increased the effectiveness of many of my builds, so I definitely think it's something worth checking out. But that's up to you. There's so many different ways to get armor in this game besides doing these pledges, but this is yet another aspect of the game that I wanted to cover. There are many online guides, YouTube videos, and different resources out there to help you determine what the perfect monster set is going to be for you. That was not the purpose of this video, so I'm not going to go through all of that, but I will link some of those resources in the description of the video to point you in the right direction. You could also just, Google what's the best monster set for me with my armor type and see a bunch of people arguing about it on various forums and different places. So hopefully this information was helpful to you if you were scratching your head and didn't understand the Undaunted Pledge system. If you didn't even know this was a thing, now you can start working on it and get yourself a cool monster set. But as always, just something I wanted to point out for new players or returning players to make sure that you're spending your time each day that you are playing ESO as effectively as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you have additional questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. And also, please tell me what you guys want to see next.